everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you are doing very well. Today is Sunday, September 10th. I'm out, well, just heading out on a little warm-up pack with Merlin. We're gonna do some jumping today. And this video is going to be a bit of a how we recovered from a not so great ride. Basically, I jumped Merlin 2 weeks ago now, and it was less than ideal. There was some stopping and I got into a really negative headspace. There were some factors as to why he stopped. Like, he wasn't just stopping for no reason. They rarely do. Anyways, yeah, this video is kind of just showing how we recovered from that, what we've done since, and how I'm focusing on building back his confidence and my confidence, more mine than his. So before we get into today's ride, I'm gonna take you back in time 2 weeks ago and show you what happened. So we've got a cross rail with the blocks as a warm-up fence. So I dug this old plank out from the pile of poles, super low on the first hole. And then I've also placed these boxes up near C. It's a good way to introduce him to having different things in the arena. When we brought him to my friend's place, he was a little bit spooky about some random stuff that was on the ground in her arena, which if you've seen that video, you would have seen. It was quite cute. Always a good boy. My jumper pony stays where I want him to. Don't you? Child. What are you doing? So I did mention that I've set up a couple of funky things, namely the boxes at the top and my tripod, and he's currently looking at the boxes, so I just let him look at it as long as he needs, and then he moves towards it at his own pace. And I personally think that it's slow, steady exposure like this that creates confident horses, not flooding them, because he is naturally very curious. So see, if I let him go explore, he will go up to it and then probably try to eat the flowers, which I'm not going to let him. Good boy, buddy. And then we can probably go around it. We might still spook at it a little bit. Good job. Yeah, I know. Good boy. Today we are August 27th. It has been nearly a month since he's jumped. This is about the most often I'll jump, like twice a month, just doing little things here and there. And when we jump, we don't overdo it. I mentioned in my last video, or one of my last videos, that I'm very much not of the opinion that you need to drill something. If he goes over the plank once, lovely, each direction, great. I might put the pole on top. Same thing with the cross rail. Maybe trot once each direction, canter once each direction. See how he goes. They say that horses only have so many jumps in them, and I fully agree with that. And also, you know, he is a 4-year-old, 4.5, so he's okay to start jumping, but not anything super high or too strenuous, which is why I'm doing like long straight lines. Why make him do it 5 times if he does it once? Great. So I'm just going to pop in here with a little bit of voiceover, because watching this footage back is making me realize that there were some signs when I started cantering that he was a little bit unfocused and maybe unsure of his environment based on the shadows. So I asked him to canter, and he spooked along that outside, which he never really does, and it was the side that had the shadows. And then I asked him to canter again, and he got the wrong lead, which he rarely does, and he did it again here. And he was just very scatterbrained, not really listening, and really unfocused. Now we got the canter here, we go, and then he broke. I didn't leave it in, but he did break. So then I'm bringing him around and letting him look at the different things. He doesn't even look at the plank, but you can see here that he really does put his head down, sniff at the cross rail in a way that he has never done in the past with a jump as simple as this. And then I trotted him at it in both directions, and he said no. I tried opening my hand and putting on a bit of outside leg, and he was just not interested in going over it. So I let him kind of have a look here, and we tried going at it from the opposite direction as well, and it didn't matter the direction or how much I let him look at it. He wasn't interested in going over it. So then we moved it up right against the wall out of the shadows, and he was a bit more amenable to it, but was still very sticky, and basically told me like, no mommy, I don't want to go over this. And this is where I started to get in my head and was like, you know, he did a nice jump there, but I just got in my head and was like really reverting to ways that I used to think. And then here I cantered him at it, and he ducked out the outside. So we put it down to like a half-raised canter pole, and walked him over it a couple times, gave him a little bit of a break to decompress, and then I started taking him over it in the trot, and he did really, really well. And then to help me determine what the problem could have been, because I had a gut feeling it was the shadows, I decided to point him at the plank, and you will see what happens. Bye, dude. It's a good boy. Are you coming back? Hi, baby. Oh, I love you so much. I'm sorry I got annoyed with you. You probably felt my frustration, didn't you? So, young horses, man. I must admit that this is the first time that I've ever had a ride, like that I've ever been filming a video, where I've had a ride that I immediately had this feeling of, I don't know if I want to post this or not. I had this idea in my head of what the ride was going to look like, but then I brought him up to the cross rail, and he was like, nope, not going over it. Just as I started jumping, my friend came in and was kind enough to help me lower the jump. And at first I was like, no, he's been over that cross rail before, I'll just bring him at it again. And he was not interested in going over it. Now, I should also mention, and you will have noticed, that there's shadows on the ground. I thought in the moment and recognized that that probably make the jump harder to read for him, so I automatically should have started with some ground poles. Hindsight is always 20/20. So I'm gonna try not to be too mad about myself for that. He was trotting around the jump, because originally it wasn't right up against the wall like it was, like we put it at the end. It was off the wall, and he was trotting through the shadows, no problem. Didn't even look at them, so it didn't even cross my mind that it might make the jump difficult to read. My friend lowered it, and we started going over it, and his confidence just grew and grew and grew. And I was gonna be done. I just had this gut feeling telling me to try the plank. So I trotted him at it, and I was thinking in my head, if he refuses it, whatever, we'll come back another day. And he didn't even question it. So that, note to self, next time we jump, we are going to keep the bar super, super, super low. I must admit, I got frustrated in the moment, and I was feeling like I really had to make myself think and breathe. And I'm trying not to be upset at myself for getting frustrated, knowing that he could feel that frustration, because in the past I would have let that escalate, and it did escalate tonight a little past what I normally would let it, but I did catch myself before it escalated super high, and I really tried to think logic over emotion, and we did, and it worked out. I'm gonna leave it pretty raw. I don't know if I will regret that or not, because people on the internet can be very judgmental a-holes. I'm going to post this, and if you have anything negative to say, I don't want to hear it. Any negative comments will be deleted, because I don't need my confidence in myself and in him being shaken. Oh, is that scary? Silly monkey. Hop up. Now sit. Sit, good boy. Good job. So it is the next day, and I am out for a walk with my puppy dog, and I thought that it would be helpful to debrief about my ride with Merlin yesterday. If you will have seen the video that I put out about me jumping Eve, the footage with Merlin yesterday was originally meant to be in that video. I felt like I wanted to go through the process of restoring, I don't want to say restoring lost confidence, but just taking things back to basics and getting to a much more positive level compared to what the ride yesterday was. In retrospect, the issues with yesterday's ride were not a huge deal at all. He was refusing to go over the jump because he was finding it hard to read due to the shadows on the ground. We moved it, lowered the criteria, He went over it fine. Went over the planks, no big deal. Yeah, if I were not me with my overthinking ways, it would not have been as big of a deal as it was. I had adrenaline, and yeah, adrenaline makes you lose a little bit of logic, I think. In the immediate aftermath, like while it was happening, my problem solving skills kind of went out the window, and I reverted to Kaitlyn of the past with the no, he's gotta go over it, rah rah rah, like very traditional, less educated than I am now. And that's gonna happen. Like that, I put up a reel on Instagram today. I wrote it out last night, and it really expresses a lot of how I felt last night and how I'm still feeling today. That I recognized that my reaction at the time was not ideal and not the kind of reaction that I want to have when something with my horse goes less than perfect. Horses have very short memories, and he will have forgotten by the time he got back out to his friends in the back eating grass. So if I hold on to it and keep it in my head, it's going to do a disservice to him, because I will go into the next time that we jump with this preconceived idea in mind about what might happen. I know it might seem a bit silly for me to like record my reaction the day after a ride that wasn't actually that, sorry, and I'm looking at the wrong place, a ride that wasn't actually that dramatic or bad or whatever. But I often say that the main reason that I started this channel was to document my journey with Merlin. But something that's so tied up in my journey with Merlin as a young horse is the evolution of my horsemanship. And I don't think that I would be doing that journey justice if I wasn't honest about when I have a little wobble. Because in general now I'm very good at emotional regulation and checking myself when I feel myself getting a bit frustrated. But sometimes in cases like jumping, when your adrenaline is a bit higher, it can be harder to execute that emotional regulation. So yeah, I think this video is going to be as much about helping Merlin get over that little wobble as it will be about me and my mindset and getting over that reaction that I had. I think this has served an important lesson for me to keep checking in with myself when I'm riding, especially when I'm doing something new. And throughout the week, I'm just going to try to do short, positive rides with him. And when I do ride in the arena, I'm going to set some canter poles out. I'll take the blue boxes and do like a half raised canter pole and just be putting him over stuff, throwing stuff in his way, getting him used to going over tiny little stuff, because I do a lot of canter poles, but since we started jumping, I've kind of gotten away from doing that as much as I used to. There's so much that you can do with jumping just with poles, and sometimes I forget that. You know, I am a very experienced equestrian. I've been riding for 23 years and I'm 27 years old, but I haven't really been in jumping training for many years now. And I'm not at the point right now where I can really afford a jumping coach, but I do have a lot of experience in my back pocket where I feel confident in my ability to bring Merlin and Eve along. I'm lucky enough to have some really wonderful friends who help me with exercise ideas and that I can turn to for advice when I need it. That is the plan. That is the reflection. I rambled for way longer than I was planning to. We'll probably see you tomorrow. Really? Had to pee apparently. So it is 2 days later. It's Tuesday night and we are out for a hack. Merlin is in his spy gear. Spaceman gear, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so tonight we are keeping it nice and chill with a walk hack around his grass field. So he's used to being in here, just not under saddle. Yeah, we'll continue some hacking throughout the week and maybe do an arena session before the weekend. So it's now Saturday. Almost a week has passed since the ride, and he hacked on Tuesday, hacked on Thursday, and actually did a really nice working hack in the backfield, walk, trot, canter. So he hasn't been in the arena since. Today I'm doing some pole work, and I've got a square of poles set up. We can do walk, trot, and canter, and then I've got a half-raised canter pole set up there, and we're just gonna do our trot warm up and go over and through and do the poles as much as we can.
I'm moving up the street, ain't feeling my heartbeat no more, but I found my melody. I'll take one more please, yeah. So I grab my teeth, they want to keep receipts. I said, I buried the old me, 6 feet under, in case you wonder. 6 feet underground, my lips sealed won't make a sound. I told you once, I told you twice, where I left those words in a past life. I'm moving too slow.
An idiot horse rolling on a hill. I swear. Wow, athleticism. Wow. So he was a very good boy. Very spicy. Silly. Spicy, but very good. Hi there, dragon. So that has been the last few rides and kind of what I've done to rebuild his confidence. Today will be his first time doing a proper jump since the day where things didn't go super well. So we're out just for a little warm-up hack in the hayfield, which we can finally ride in again because the hay has been cut. So I'm gonna do like 10-15 minutes of walk out here, and then we'll do some trot and then head into the arena and do some canter and jumping. So we did our walk trot warm up outside, about 20-25 minutes. I'm gonna set my pivot up. We're gonna do a couple of laps of canter each direction before we jump, and then I'll pop him over the jump a couple of times. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
I've had my better days when I'm in the moment with you. Bright lights lay right across your windowsill, patiently taking the view. Satellites fly right above your head, waiting on the moment too soon. So take it all in, toss another stone by. It's like I'm a rollerblade sailing with you. I broke my arm once, I don't wanna slow a song. Someone I've been waiting on.
We are just cooling out, and as you will have just seen, he was absolutely epic. He does find jumping from the canter easier, like a lot of horses do, but I think with the young ones it's really important to jump them out of a trot because it helps to teach them good technique and make them really pay attention to what's underneath them. So I'm definitely going to start doing a lot more trot jumping with him. Yeah, so anyways, I don't have much else to say. He was absolutely epic. I'm really glad that I didn't just, you know, come back out a week later and try jumping him again, that I took the time to do some pole work, to get him out of the arena, get him focused on other things. He's been really enjoying his hacking. Looking at the videos, I definitely think when we are trot jumping, I need a little bit more trot because he kind of gets stuck on takeoff almost, like it's very slow, and there's like a lagging that doesn't really happen when we canter jumps. One of the perks of making these videos and filming so many of my rides is that it's an invaluable tool for me as his rider and his primary trainer to have these rides on video to see what I can do to improve. I'm not going to say that my riding today was the prettiest riding I've ever done because the first few times over the fence, I don't want to say I rode defensively, but I slipped my I didn't want to catch him in the mouth, so I slipped my reins and just kind of let him have his head, and I think he appreciated it. Riding babies isn't always pretty and that's something that I've learned both through Merlin and through a lot of the young horses that I've worked with over the last few years, and even Eve. Effective riding isn't always pretty, and that's completely fine. I don't know how coherent this video is going to be. We'll see when I go to edit it. But if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, subscribe down below, and leave a comment. I've so been enjoying making videos lately, as you can probably tell based on the amount that I've done in the last month. So until next time, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Don't forget to give your horse or pony a hug or a kiss the next time you see them, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Satellites fly right